back to this kind of mini series on building relationships, especially within the elementary classroom. Today I'll be talking about the first step in building those relationships, which I believe is truly caring about each student. There's a great quote that my father shared with me. My father was an EBD teacher dealing with difficult students, but he did it for 20 years, which is didn't burn out after a couple. He really stuck it out and cared deeply about students, and he shared with me, I'm not sure if he knew that it was a Socrates quote, but those who are hardest to love are the ones who often need it the most. And it's going to be tough at times to truly love students that are really, really tough, but they're the ones that if you can constantly give love, they're going to come back to you tenfold. After a while, they'll realize that you're not pretending. As an example of this, I had a student who recently came back into my classroom after he's having some difficulties with other teachers. He's been suspended, been having multiple problems with other teachers, and with just not being respectful, not being a caring student towards anybody else. And recently I had a chance to sit down. He came back, and he's going to be leaving the school next year that I'm currently teaching at, but came back and talked to me before he left for the year, and sat down and ate lunch with me. And it was an interesting experience to see the difference in the student that I hear about, and then the level of respect that I get from the student. And I experienced some of the similar attitudes from him early on. This was 2 years back, early on when he was in my classroom. But I think that over the first month or so, he realized that I wasn't going to quit on him, and that I really did care about him. And that came through in multiple ways. There were times that I was frustrated, that it was difficult to have him in the classroom. It was difficult to keep him in here. But I think developing that true relationship with kids is where you need to go. You got to be strong-willed, and you got to be caring towards them, and truly mean it. I think it takes, for most kids, it'll take about a week to really develop, especially in elementary school, develop a firm relationship, a strong relationship with them. Kids care that in elementary school they want to be here for the most part, and that they're willing to please. So we got it lucky in that sense. And some of the activities that I like to do in the first week, especially the last day of the week, when kids are going home for the first day or the first week of school and under the weekend, is doing a small activity called "What's Special About You," and just taking 15 minutes to highlight things that I've noticed in these brand new fostering relationships. Say, hey, I notice you do this, and that is amazing. And that gets some of the biggest smiles of the year, because they're realizing that you're starting to know them, that you care about them, and then they're saying it, and you're saying it in front of them. And they leave with a happy thought in their mind, and they may go share it with their parents, maybe not, they may forget it, but it's something that plants that seed for their relationship. That's something I try to keep up about bi-monthly, or if you can every month, that's great. It becomes a little tough to be unique every time, but these aren't things that are patronizing. They're not things that you make up. They have to be authentic, and because kids will know if you're not being truthful and if you're not being authentic with these kind of activities. I think some other things that help throughout the year building relationships and making kids feel special is sending emails to their parents about saying, hey, this is the things they're accomplishing, these are the good things they're doing, because they go home and their parents talk about that. Parents would much rather talk about that than the negative stuff, which you have to send sometimes. So it helps your relationship with parents as well, building that confidence that, I recognize that your kids are doing great things, and they're not doing great things at times. Having that balance helps out. Age appropriate wise, I'm currently teaching 4th grade. I like to CC my students onto those emails so they can read what I'm saying directly about their parents. Another thing I try to do when students get in trouble, there may be times where they do something wrong, their behavior is poor, those conversations that you have, obviously if you show you care about them, not calling them out in front of the classroom, not calling them out in front of everybody else. Wait till a moment, and ask them if they need to take a break in the hallway, if they need to, do anything you can to not call them out in class in front of anybody else. But a powerful phrase that I use often with students is that, no matter what you do, I'm going to always care about you. I'm going to always be there for you. But right now, your behavior is tough. Your behavior is causing distractions in the classroom, or your behavior is this. So reminding them that you care about them personally, reminding them that they are important to you all the time. That's because if you're in education, you feel that. You may not feel it all the time. You may be, but that feeling shouldn't be towards the student, or shouldn't be towards the person. It should be towards the behavior that they're doing. So they understand that, all right, I messed up, but that behavior, I can change that behavior, and things might be better. And the last thing I would say about these relationship building, and the true caring about that is don't be fake or sarcastic about it. There's going to be times that you want to use that you want to be, you don't have anything positive to say. It's better to say nothing at that point. Build strong relationships through true caring about the students. And as an educator, that's one of the things that I think is invaluable. And we all can think of those students who are tough to deal with. Those are the ones who need it the most. And if you can find a way to get through to them over time, empathize with them, and you show that you care, then things may change. So that's my thoughts on truly caring about students and to build relationships. The next one we'll be talking about, the next video will be about respect. Thanks for listening.